Hi, everyone. We are here with Kyle and Sofia, and today we're going to learn just a little bit about their investing journey with rental properties, and we're going to hopefully inspire some of you guys who are really ready to go, but just haven't taken the plunge and gotten your first property. So Kyle and Sofia, if you guys could just both tell me a little bit about yourselves, where you're from, what you do, and what you were hoping that investing in real estate would do for you.
Sure, absolutely.
My name is Sofia Hanger, and we live about an hour outside of DC in the suburbs of Northern Virginia. And we wanted to start this process just to really build our wealth. And we wanted something long-term that's been proven to be successful for a lot of people. And we kind of positioned ourselves in a way that we've saved up and worked hard, and we were kind of ready to make that jump.
Yeah, and I'm Kyle. Yep, I'm Kyle Hanger, and so I am my background is in property management and some in real estate. Sofia is in dermatology, working as a physician assistant, and so we have this kind of combination of I have a background in real estate, and I've been really a student of learning real estate and real estate investing. Where Sofia is working in the medical field, and we have a great balance there. She's been learning along with me, and part of what we were looking for in a program was to get some confidence, some focus, some tools to move into, actually executing on real estate. But it was also important to find a program that worked for Sofia to help her kind of understand some more of the process other than just listening to my advice and what I say. So when, I came across you and your program initially through Instagram, I think, and when I saw kind of what you were about and what you were offering, it seemed like a good blend of what we were looking for. Something for me that would provide, focus and a process, and something for Sofia to help her learn more about the ins and outs of real estate investing.
Kyle, what kind of research had you done prior to the program to learn about real estate investing? I know you were already, in property management and all that, but did you do research on podcasts, reading books, watching YouTube videos? What kind of research did you do prior to the program on learning all about how to invest with rental properties?
Yeah, way too much. Way over analysis, over study, over reading, a ridiculous amount. Every book I could come up with for, over the past 5-10 years. I think most recently, though, the thing that really spurred my fire, though, was Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets as a resource, both the podcasts and YouTube videos, and then also books that they're publishing. ARM does. That was that's been a really big part of my education in the recent past. I learned some things about that led me to the possibility of long distance real estate investing. And that kind of opened up my eyes to the possibilities of being able to invest in real estate now, because we live in a very expensive real estate market. And to invest in this market, you either need to have a lot of money, or you need to live in a property for a long time and refinance, and then make that a rental and move out and buy another property and do that. And that would take the rest of your life to actually build a portfolio out of. So finding the long distance, the systems that you can put together, the knowledge you can put together, learning about that was big for me. And then started the analysis of markets. I looked at markets all over the country, and we were starting to focus on a specific area in North Carolina, the Triad, but I think when in our first early conversations with you, Casey, you kind of helped us solidify that the decisions that we were making actually made sense. Looking at population growth, looking at job growth, looking at the factors that make sense to actually invest in real estate. So we took all the factors, we looked at all the markets, we zoned in on a specific market that we felt comfortable with, that we could drive to. It's a 5-hour drive, but we're able to actually drive to that area. And that was comfortable both for me, and I think it helped Sofia kind of, get more on board than she even was, because we don't have to fly to some random place in America to go, look at real estate and to really learn the market. We can just take a drive.
Now, I've talked to you guys for several weeks, months now, and I know how detailed you guys are, especially you, Kyle, with spreadsheets and making sure you've done, I mean, you have done immense research on every aspect and facet of real estate and rental properties. So after all of your thorough research, everything that you've done and learned, why did you still feel you needed a coaching program to help guide you on your first property?
Again, it goes back to, I think, confidence, focus, a structured system. Like, I have learned all these pieces and I've put them together myself, right? Like, I am a systems-based person. It's just how I operate. But I was creating that myself. But one part of it was that I knew that the focus, having somebody who is in a situation where they are an active investor who has a portfolio that is a size that we can aspire to. We're not talking about thousands and thousands of multifamily units. We're talking about like a small portfolio of single family homes. That's what our goal is right now. So getting that focus, having somebody that we can speak to and learn through their experience and have achievable goals that they've achieved that we can aspire to, that was important to me. So having both the kind of like written system, the videos, the information, but then having somebody to talk to, right? Like having you to talk to be a soundboard, to be to give guidance, to be a friend through the process, somebody who has similar interests. I think that was important as well. And for me, it was also important that the person that we were going to work with is a person that Sofia could relate to, not by any specific things, but by a bunch of things. Somebody that can help her understand at the level that she's at and gets her to the next level of her understanding and her, her ability to execute on investment properties. So that was also important for me, is to be something that both of us would get something out of, even if it was the same thing, or maybe even a little bit different things that we got out of a program.
Sofia, I know Kyle's like the real estate guy. So when he said, "Hey, I have this dream, I want to own rental properties. What do you think?" What was your initial feeling when he talked to you about his idea of wanting to buy rentals?
Oh gosh.
Honest feelings.
Terrified, scared, overwhelmed. I mean, a lot of initial hesitation, because like Kyle said, I don't have that background. So for me, all of this is a lot more new and scary. And although, of course, Kyle has been great at, I'm learning a lot from him and giving me knowledge, I really needed someone like Casey to be that extra reinforcement, because it's so scary to go into something unknown, and you kind of want something structured that makes sense, and you want something that's not going to be so overwhelming at once. So although of course Kyle has been valuable in many ways and has been very patient with me and helping, teach me, and this is what this means, and that's how that works, having that extra person there that's also been through this, has done this, understands it, very well, is just that extra little push to make, like he said, makes you feel more confident that you're making the right decisions.
Now, Sofia, you went through the 6-week intensive online course training program, just like Kyle did. And we talked a lot about, mindset, finding your market, financing strategies, purchase contracts, the rehab module, all the way to landlording and property management. What were some of the parts of the training that you felt like you really learned from?
Oh gosh, they were all very, very valuable in their own way, because they're all so relevant from beginning to end. I think for me, I actually really appreciated that first module where you touch on the initial fears and anxieties of doing this, because I think it's very easy to just look at the facts. Let's analyze numbers. Let's go over the steps, finding the right tenant, inspection, neighborhoods. I mean, contractors, all of that is very necessary, very very part of the process. But you also can't just overlook the mental fears, the psychological fears, the stressors that come along with it. So the fact that I think you introduced this whole thing with more of a, hey, I get it, this is scary, and things are going to come up, and you're only going to learn it until you do it, and a lot of it is unknown until you get through it. So that initial kind of starting, I was like, oh wow, she understands. I'm not just fearful and nervous, and she gets those feelings too, and it's nervous for that first property in particular, that first step. So the fact that you touched on that, I think I was like, wow, I appreciate that. It's relatable. She gets it. So it made me feel even more comfortable that, again, we're in the right hands, and somebody's going to really understand that it's not going to come as natural for everybody, especially somebody like me who doesn't have any background in real estate. So that really stood out to me.
I love that. Thank you. Kyle, what would you say would be your biggest takeaway from all of the online course modules and lessons that you went through?
So in terms of like specific modules and content, I really liked how in detail you went into the contractors and rehabbing and like scope of works and like having like inspection documents for these type of things. I'm a systems person. I'm a checklist guy. Like I'd like checklists and worksheets and these type of things. And in that particular module, especially, you really went into details that I at the time was also kind of learning on my own in reading books like estimating rehab costs. These are things I was learning, and it is still kind of new to me, and that I got a lot out of. And I got a lot. So before knowing anything about you or anything about the program, I did not have an expectation that you would go as deep into information and details as you actually did. So that was a very pleasant surprise for me. And, where I thought that like towards the beginning, what she's talking about, that was important for her because she needed that like almost emotional connection about it, where I'm the opposite. I don't want I got myself covered on the emotional side. I want to get down to business. I want to get down to process. I want to get down to systems. And while you offered her the comfort, emotional and the comfort and the overview and the steps and like, I got you, you offered me like specifics, like you got, and even in the property management stuff, like in the property management stuff, that's a world I've lived in for a long time. And there's things that if I was putting a program together, I probably wouldn't have thought about. And I'm not going to be able to think about the exact thing right this second either, but there was details you went into where it surprised me. Even at that point, like we're getting deep into the modules by the point, and it really impressed me about how much detail you went into about finding a property manager and what you can expect and being a landlord and these things. So that's what I'd say.
What would you guys say? And thank you so much for the feedback about the course.
Yeah, of course.
It's good to hear. I love to get the feedback so I know how to make it better and what you guys like. What about the coaching? We've spent a lot of time together. What would you say your experience has been working with me through Zoom, one-on-one, and all of that?
I honestly think if we had not done this process with you, we wouldn't be where we are now with 2 contracts on properties. Like that still blows my mind that I probably would have made up excuses and said, oh, it's not the right time. And, oh, we can save more money. Or, you think of all the things that are the obstacles. You can always think of excuses, but having somebody coaching you, motivating you, keeping you on track, holding you to a schedule, really keeps you accountable. I think accountability is such a big part of this because it's easy, and I'm guilty of this, it's easy to get lost in the day-to-day. And, I work, a regular 9 to 5. So it's not like this is my full-time gig. So for me, I could easily come home and be exhausted and not want to dedicate more of my time and energy into something because I could easily make up excuses and be tired. And, and the next thing you know, 6 months goes by and you haven't accomplished these goals that you've set. So I think for me, Casey holding me accountable and keeping me to a schedule really helped us get from point A to point B. And that's invaluable, because I feel like we definitely would not have been bold enough, confident enough, have the knowledge to make the decisions we have in the time that we have. And we've just accomplished a lot more with your help.
Thank you, Sophia. Now, you mentioned something in there. You said you are under contract with 2 properties. Kyle,
Yes.
why don't you tell me about that? And how long have you been looking for this property? You know, how long have you been putting in offers, and what's been your process? How hard has it been to get your first 2 under contract? Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to have to be a really long story short here. But we went through analyzing market. We went through taking trips to the area. We went to looking at properties and seeing school systems and like getting a feel from the area, then coming back and looking at 1,000 more properties through Zillow and MLS and all this stuff. And, you know, looking at properties, one would pop up. We would look into it, look at the schools, look at this, look at all the criteria that we kind of had laid out for ourselves. And, it would come up, it would go away because it'd go under contract super quickly. So fast forwarding through, a lot of doing that, we come across a for sale by owner. And so, to me immediately, I'm like, all right, for sale by owner, that chops off a little bit of competition already. Let's see what this is about. Happened to be in a really good elementary school system. And that's one of the things that in our criteria, we kind of refocused on. Like, we knew schools, we knew like what kind of class property and stuff, but focusing on the elementary school as the primary school was something we hadn't definitely come to a decision on. Like, let's make sure that elementary school is really good. And then the other 2, the middle and the high school, are important, but we know for the type of property we're looking at that you're going to have folks that probably want to be in a really good elementary school district. So we started looking at properties, the price points, the rental, what the estimated rental amounts would be, making sure that looked, okay first, then going in from there, the type of the property in general, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, where it's located, between Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point, and then going even deeper into like the neighborhoods and things like that. So for sale by owner, it's an elementary school that's a 10 out of 10. The middle school and the high school are average. They're fine, but they're in a school district that's well known and very people really want to be in the school district. Great shopping center to the east, great community parks to the west. So the area, great area. We look at this property, we have we're on our second agent at this point. Whole other conversation we'd have to go through. We don't have time for, but so we're on our second agent. That agent's like quick to work. She's like, I'm going to this area anyways today. I'll go drive by. She calls the owner, gets a scheduled appointment to go meet with him and walk through the property the next day. She does that. We are 5 hours away, so we're not going to be part of this walkthrough. She walks through, she meets him. She, calls afterwards with some, feedback from that appointment. She lets us know that property has a verbal offer, all cash offer, 175. And, it's just verbal, no written offer. So we started talking, the 3 of us are talking at this point, figuring out where we want to do, what we want to do, how we want to approach this. And we're like, all right, there's nothing written yet, so let's go to writing. Let's get it in writing. Let's get the first written offer in. So we're putting the written offer together. We're like, all right, 175, all cash. We need a home inspection. We need some due diligence period. We don't feel comfortable yet to be able to just make a decision without going to that level. So we're like, all right, but all cash, we'll do as quick close as possible, probably a couple week close because there's just going to be a home inspection. And then, it's going to be all cash. So we don't have to deal with appraisals and financing, all that stuff. Great offer, I think. We think, everybody thinks. So, she calls, she's like, actually, as we're putting the pieces together, the seller calls our agent. It's like, look, I got a written offer now. It's 175 all cash. The long story short there is 175 all cash, 7-day close, no inspections, no due diligence period. And we're like, well,
it's hard to compete with.
What are we going to do here? We can't do this. We're like, we can go up 177.5. We can go up on our offer a little bit. The long short is That's an incredible offer. It's a general contractor who's going to be buying the property. He's done his home inspection himself. He can close in 7 days. We're not going to beat this. So we lose. You know, it's just, we're like, all right, well, it's a little bit frustrating. It stinks a little bit. We really liked it, but on to the next, right? On to the next one. So we're talking about other properties we're going to see. The next day, agent calls again. He's like, look, the guy contacted me and he has 2 other properties in the same neighborhood. He wants to know if you guys are interested in looking at them.
Not on the market. Totally not even.
They haven't been listed for sale by owner. He hasn't talked to anybody about them. Nothing, right? So the long fast forward in the summary here is that we end up getting a schedule to go see the property. The tenants, you know, the tenants are cool with it. Owner, agent, we end up saying, okay, we're going to go down and see it. So we decide to take the trip, drive 5 hours down. We have a bunch of other properties we're going to see anyways. We're going to meet our agent in person for the first time. And we're going to take advantage of this, even if this doesn't work out. But we're going to go look at these 2 properties. So we look at the properties, we analyze them in person enough to the point where like, we'll move forward with making offers. We put offers together. We put it into writing. He wants $183,500 for each property. We think that's overvalued. We come back at, you know, 175 and 177, something like this. We counter back and forth. In the end, we go under contract, 179.5 on one and 176.5 on the other. They are tenant occupied properties. They have leases in place for two more and 4 more years. So 1 2 years more and 1 4 more years. They are $1,250 each in rent, a little bit lower, a couple hundred, $200 to $300 lower than actual market rent is. But that $1,250 is going to cash flow us. Is going to cash flow us more than $300, probably more like $350. And we know that in the future, there's a lot of room to move that rent up. So all factors combined, they look like good properties. We get to go in financing from the beginning without taking cash and putting it up and having to tie up that cash on 1 or 2 properties. We finance from the beginning, 20% down. Rates are looking like somewhere in the 3.375 to 3.5 on a rental property rate. So
that is amazing, Kyle. I can't believe it. You guys, I just want to say to both of you, congratulations. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait for you guys to close. And so from all the story you just said and what I talked to you guys about and realized a few minutes ago, these were the first properties you guys actually made written offers on.
Written offers, yeah. We had some verbal back and forth, but written offers.
Written offers, first written offers.
Seller's market, right? And
it was from a for sale by owner. I mean, you guys, that's so cool. I'm not even looking in the camera. I'm just so excited. I'm looking at your face. That's awesome. So I guess my last question for you guys, and it's going to be to Sofia. Sofia, what would you say now to the aspiring real estate investor who is looking to buy their first rental property, but they're scared? They don't know anything about real estate. They maybe own their own house or maybe they don't, but they know they want to invest in rental properties, but they're scared for whatever reason. What would you say to that person to get them to get started?
Just go brick by brick.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I can't beat that. What would I say? I would say, I get it. I was that person. And it really is going to take somebody to guide you and reassure you. And for me, I think it was just knowing that real estate is something that is a surefire thing. You're not putting your money in the stock market. You're not doing something unpredictable. You're not taking this big, it feels like a big risk. But when you actually think about it, it's something that is going to hold your money and build you wealth long-term. And that's something you're not going to get elsewhere. It's something that you know is a tried and true process that has such potential long-term that you really can't go wrong. You just have to have the knowledge there, and you have to have the right people around you. And the rest, you know, that's the scariness of it starts to kind of wear off slowly. Looking back on where I started to where I am now, it's amazing because I was so skeptical and so scared, because I am somebody who doesn't really take risks when it comes to my money. I work, I put a certain amount into savings, and that's really it. You know, I have a 401k and the normal things, but I've never really taken this type of leap. And now knowing the knowledge that I have and having Casey guide me along the way, those fears start to really dissipate because you realize how many times this has worked in the past and how many people have built such amazing wealth for themselves, their families, and it's a proven, well-oiled machine. You make the right choices, you pick the right properties, you find the right tenants, and then once you have your system in place, you realize, hey, that worked, and that worked really well, and I'm going to replicate that again and again. And so just time, be patient with yourself, know that scary, uneasy feeling is normal and natural, and that will get better over time. Just do your due diligence and do your part and learn the ropes. And when you have questions, there's people that you can align yourself with that will guide you in the right direction. But I can 100% say it's something that I'm very, very excited and happy, and I have zero regrets about this part of our lives that we're really delving into, and we are excited for everything to come.
I love it.
Last thing for me too, I'm just going to add a little bit to that, is that our journey with you is still ongoing. But when I was initially looking into your program, just like I look at a lot of listings, I analyze a lot of markets, I do a lot of, my due diligence. I looked at a lot of programs, and even since then, even since we joined with you, I think once you start, emailing and doing searches and stuff, all of a sudden you guys start getting hit in your feed with a bunch of other programs, real estate investing programs. And, what I want to say is I've seen a lot of programs that you'll get a really good video training program out of at the value you're giving, or you'll get a lot of a really good, maybe small group coaching for the value that you're giving, but you don't get both. And you've given us, your program, your information that you put a lot of time and effort into, and it's very clear going through it. And at the same time, on top of that, you're giving us the other part also, which is conversation, which is, a friendship and guidance and providing some real one-on-one time. We feel like we can talk to you, and we feel like you're investing time in us as well at the same time. So getting both of those things in one program is an incredible value to me, and I think would be an incredible value to anybody who is starting or is on their real estate investing journey.
Thank you. You guys have been amazing. I love working with you. We still have a lot more time together, so maybe we can get you number 3 and number 4.
Plan.
Oh, yay!
That's the
Thank
plan.
you guys very much.